tomorrow is World Menopause Day to raise awareness and help support women's wellness at midlife.
Yeah, our next guest is at the forefront of this issue, spearheading the first ever CEO Menopause Summit in New York City. Welcome to the show this afternoon, Stacy London, former host of What Not to Wear and current CEO of State of Menopause. Stacy, always good to see you.
Always wonderful to see both of you. How are you today?
Good, good. And we love your pink, right? It matches us perfectly. All right. You have taken the day tomorrow to bring together over a dozen CEOs to talk about how we can collaborate in the service of this community. Tell us, first of all, about the first CEO Menopause Summit.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, I think one of the big things for me was finding a way to collaborate instead of compete for this particular consumer and this demographic. Well, you know, the menopause world is still a very new one to a lot of people, and discussing it the way that we have been talking about it is just really recent in the last couple of years. And I realized that, you know, it's not just that all ships rise together, it's that united and unified voices are louder than just on our own. And I think that because this is a consumer who's still somewhat reluctant and really not very educated on menopause, I wanted to bring together CEOs who are like-minded, even if they're competitors in the same field, really to talk with the press and people of influence about the way that this conversation needs to continue. It's not that menopause is a fad. We're hearing a lot about it recently, but I feel like we've got to keep this conversation going and make sure that we're really positioning it as a long-term play in terms of what we're telling our audiences.
And less taboo to talk about, because I even think about family members. You don't hear them talking about that.
No.
All right, so
No,
Stacy,
exactly.
yeah, it said that menopause is a $600 billion opportunity in women's health. What exactly does that entail and mean?
Yeah, it really doesn't mean very much. It means there's a huge opportunity, I think, in the market for the menopause industry, which is everything from beauty products to functional symptomatic products to medicinal hormones. The fact is we can only say that it's a potential $600 billion white space renewable market, because you need a consumer base that is willing not only to discuss these things, but to actually look into their options and feel comfortable doing so. So the idea that education first is really what's most important in menopause is to create a consumer with agency who knows what her choices are and is able to make them out of that education rather than sort of being blindly, confused by what is in the market. There's a very big, broad spectrum of products and services available, and it really is our job to educate her so she knows what is going to work best for her. Menopause is very bio-individualistic, and so we need everybody to talk with their doctor and their care practitioner and really understand what's happening to them.
And, talk about education, but a lot of that education or information comes from the media, and the media needs to be a part of this. You felt like it was really important for the media to be part of the conversation. I'm going to be there with you tomorrow moderating.
You are.
But I am going to be there because I agree with you. It is so important for the media to be part of spreading that word.
Well, media is the, cornerstone of culture in a lot of ways. And so we absolutely need the media as allies in this conversation. There is a lot of information still out there that hasn't been vetted, hasn't been curated. We really need to help our audiences make sense of this information. So again, that there is agency and choice allowed during this time of life. You shouldn't feel like you're being victimized by hormonal chaos, right? If you know, then you know. Right? It's just that thing of education being so helpful in making choices. You've got to be grounded in real education, and the media as our allies and partners to amplify those messages is essential for this to move forward and become part of common culture.
So speaking about that audience, so many people are unaware or confused about menopause. So what do you hope that people take away from this summit?
Well, I think, first of all, this is not a consumer-facing event. This is for the press and people who are medical experts and people who are already in the menopause world to talk about ways in which we can amplify each other's voices, support each other in getting to this consumer. Because there's been a lot of attention around menopause, but yet this consumer is still reluctant. So, this was really a call out to all of the companies in ways in which we can work together to really make this consumer feel more educated and more on top of the situation. And certainly, again, asking the press to be our allies and also talking to them about some of the difficulties we face as companies in trying to reach this consumer and how to get her attention in a way that doesn't make her feel at all taken advantage of, but truly supported by an industry that has been created for the first time ever. We're not your mother's menopause company because she didn't have one.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's about time that we start doing this. And really, again, with the media present, we're able to amplify these voices by so much more and really give very specific clinical information and data as to what's happening in this market right now.
Yeah, there is so much information. It's so important these women feel supported. Stacy, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon to talk about this, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Happy World Menopause Day, everybody.
Oh, happy World Menopause Day. And for more information, by the way, you can visit the website, stateofmenopause.com, or follow at Shop State Of.